It was a Thursday evening when I first realized something was wrong. My name is Daniel, and I live in a small suburb of Denver. I had spent the day running the usual errands, finishing late at the gym, and making a quick dinner for myself, expecting Claire, my wife, to walk through the door any minute. But she didn't. The clock ticked past 7, then 8, and still no sign of her. At first, I told myself she was just caught up at work, or maybe had decided to grab a coffee with a friend. I didn't panic. Yet, by 9, the quiet in our apartment had turned heavy, almost suffocating. I checked my phone. No missed calls, no texts. Usually, Claire would send a quick message if she was going to be late. Something as small as running behind, be home soon. Nothing. My stomach twisted. A sense of unease settled in that I couldn't shake. I tried calling her, and every time I hit call, it rang, but no one picked up. Her voicemail was full, and even her best friend didn't answer my texts. I decided to walk to her favorite cafe, thinking maybe she had just decided to work there for a change of scenery. I pushed the door open, and the smell of coffee hit me like it always did, familiar and comforting. But she wasn't there. I asked the barista, and they shook their head politely. That was when the first real worry hit me. Something wasn't right. Returning home, I paced the apartment, checking every corner, every window, every lock. My mind spun with possibilities, none of them good. Then, as I sank onto the couch, my phone buzzed. I didn't recognize the number, and my heart skipped. It was a text. The message was short, almost clinical. Daniel, Claire is safe, but you need to know the truth. My hands shook as I reread it. Every scenario I had imagined suddenly felt tiny compared to the weight of that single sentence. I didn't know what to do. Part of me wanted to call the number back immediately, demanding answers. Another part wanted to sit and pretend this wasn't happening, to hope it was some mistake, maybe a prank. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. There was a gravity to those words that pressed against my chest, and I felt a strange mixture of fear and anticipation. As I stared at the screen, my mind raced back to the last conversation Claire and I had. It had been tense, a minor disagreement about finances that shouldn't have mattered. But for some reason, it lingered in my thoughts. Could it have triggered whatever this was? Was this connected to her absence? Or was it something entirely unexpected? Something I hadn't seen coming at all. I stared at the text for what felt like an eternity before finally gathering the courage to reply. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, unsure of what to say. Who is this? I typed, hoping for some clarity, some hint of reassurance. The reply came almost immediately. Someone who knows everything. But you need to meet me to understand. Don't worry. Claire is safe. Your choices now will determine everything. My chest tightened. Who knew everything? And what did that even mean? My mind flashed through every mistake, every argument, every time I'd failed her or missed a sign that something was wrong. And then a pang of guilt hit me harder than fear had. Had I truly been paying attention? Or had I been blind? Caught up in work, in routines, in the little annoyances that piled up over months? The message gave a location, an old diner on the edge of town, one we had driven past countless times but never stopped at. I debated whether to go. The rational part of me said, this could be a trap. Call the police. Don't go alone. But the part that loved her, that had built a life with her, couldn't stay put. I had to see her, had to know she was okay. When I drove up to the diner, it was nearly empty. The neon sign flickered, and the rain outside had left the parking lot slick and reflective. I parked and stepped out, the cold air hitting me like a wake-up call. Inside, a man in his 40s sat at a corner booth, a phone in his hand. He didn't stand, didn't move, just gestured for me to come in. My heart was pounding, every step toward that booth heavy with dread. Daniel, the man asked as I approached, his voice calm but commanding. Sit. I did, though I felt like every nerve in my body was screaming at me to run. Where's Claire? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. The man nodded once, then leaned in. She's safe, but she's made some choices that you need to understand. And you need to make one, too. Your marriage isn't what you think it is. Not anymore. Confusion and fear collided in my chest. What do you mean? I asked. What's happened? He handed me a folded piece of paper. On it were messages, dates, and photos, evidence I could hardly believe. Claire hadn't been coming home because someone had been watching her, tracking her movements. Someone who wanted to manipulate her, to control her, to make her life miserable. And all along, she had been trying to protect me from a situation I wasn't even aware existed. I sank back in the booth, my mind spinning. Every small argument, every cold glance, every missed dinner suddenly made sense. But it was only the beginning. There was a storm coming, and I was standing right in its path. The weight of the truth pressed down on me, heavier than anything I had ever felt. And for the first time in days, I realized that everything was about to change. I looked up at the man, struggling to process what I was seeing. She was protecting me? I whispered, disbelief heavy in my voice. He nodded. Exactly. Claire knew that if you ever found out what was going on, it could put both of you in danger. She was trying to shield you, to keep you safe while she handled things on her own. That's why she didn't come home, why she disappeared for hours, days even. A mix of relief and anger surged through me. Relief that she wasn't in danger, anger at the thought that she had to face this alone. And then a new resolve took hold, one I hadn't felt in months. I was done sitting in fear, done letting circumstances control me. I owed it to her, to us, to act. The man slid another envelope across the table. Everything you need to fix this is in there. But listen carefully. You have one chance. One move that can undo months of manipulation. Make it count. I took the envelope, my hands trembling. Inside were phone records, security footage, even documents proving that someone had been trying to sabotage our lives. My mind raced as I pieced together every subtle clue I had overlooked, every missed dinner, every unusual route Claire took home, every cryptic message. None of it was random. She had been silent, but she hadn't been careless. Driving home, the rain had stopped, leaving the streets glistening under the streetlights. I kept the envelope on the passenger seat, staring at it as if it held the answers to every question I had ever had about her absence. For the first time in weeks, I felt a surge of hope. We weren't defeated. Not yet. And I would make sure that anyone who tried to hurt us would pay the price for underestimating her. And us. When I got back to our apartment, Claire was there, sitting quietly on the couch, her eyes tired but steady. I approached her, and she looked up, a faint, relieved smile on her lips. "You got it," she said softly. "You understand now, don't you?" I knelt beside her, taking her hands in mine. "I do," I said, "and I'm not letting this go. Not ever again." Her smile widened slightly, the first genuine one I had seen in days. "Good," she whispered, "because we're stronger than they think. Together." And in that moment, I realized the truth had been hidden behind fear, uncertainty, and silence. Marriage wasn't about avoiding danger or hiding secrets. It was about trust, understanding, and standing side by side when the storm came. The text that had initially filled me with dread had changed everything. But not just because it revealed a threat. It changed everything because it reminded me of what really mattered. Claire, our bond, and the unwavering resolve to protect what we had built together. I knew there would be challenges ahead, that the road wasn't suddenly clear. But for the first time in weeks, I felt alive, ready to fight, not for revenge, not for pride, but for us.